I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change has gotta come. Ooh, yes it is. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the clouds. It's been a long time coming. I know, change has gotta come. Oh, yes it is.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, divided, with liberty and justice for some.
In Yosemite Valley, Chief Tenaya gently lowers his son's body back to the ground, then stands. He gives his captors a glare of anger, then pain. You have killed my youngest son. You are taking away my home. Truly, we are not the savages here. Your own leader has that name. You people are the real savages. There has been no mourning ceremony to release his spirit, so it can go to Elowin, the spirit land in the west. When I was a child, an elderly medicine man counseled me. He gave me a prophecy that if horsemen from the lowlands ever entered Ahwahnee, my tribe would soon be scattered and destroyed. My people would be taken captive, and I would be the last chief of the Ahwahneechee. It is happening now. I grieve for my son, my people, and myself. Kill me, Captain. Just kill me as you have killed my son, as you would kill my race of people if you had the chance. Yes, American, you can now tell your warriors to kill the old chief. You have killed the child of my heart. Why not kill the father? You may kill me. You shall not live in peace. I will follow in your footsteps. Wait a little when I am dead. I will call out to my people to avenge the death of their leader and his son. American, my spirit will trouble you and your people, as you've caused much trouble for me and my people. I will haunt the white man. I will not leave my home, but be with the spirits among the meadows, the rocks and the waterfalls, in the rivers and in the winds. Wherever you go, I will be with you. You will not see me, but you will fear the spirit of the old chief and grow cold. The ancient great spirits of my people have spoken. I am finished speaking.
I am a woman. I'm gay, and I'm Irish.
You are Black.
You are trans.
You are Jewish.
She's Hispanic.
She's an atheist.
She's bipolar.
He's Asian.
He is disabled.
He is adopted.
They are divorced.
She's an addict.
He was in prison.
The sharp barbs thrown at all of us by a jury of small-minded strangers when their doors are closed. The verbs, nouns, and adjectives fly like a flock of nasty ravens. Hungry, the birds peck at us trying to kill. All because we're a little different.
Are you okay, honey?
I'm fine, Liz. Just fine.
Are you sure? You've been in here a long time and it's not like you.
You know, like I said, I'm fine. I'm just fine.
Well, honey, you don't sound fine to me.
You know, it's not right. They have no right to tell me to take early retirement.
Yeah, but I know, darling.
You know, 35 years. 35 years I give to the job. Ever since our little Faith was born.
I know. And you did a really good job. No one would ever argue with that. You know, but maybe it's time, though. You know, it's not like we haven't talked about it before.
Yeah, I know, but it should be my choice. now they say they want to defund the police. What kind of crap is that?
No, it's not crap. You know what that's about.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of bad shit that goes down out there. Not saying there isn't. But to promote that girl to captain over 2 or 3 more experienced guys, that's just not right.
But she's not a girl, Ralph. She's a policewoman.
And black.
And black. So?
So, being black and female means she gets promoted 2 pay grades. I mean, whatever happened to putting in your time and earning your bars the hard way?
Well, you know, I don't know, Ralph, honey, but I read about her, and the LA Times said she had a lot of citations and awards, and she seems qualified to me.
Shit, Liz, whose side are you on?
Well, I'm trying to be on your side, honey, but sometimes you make it so difficult.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Well, you know, I'm just trying to see both sides.
Oh, God, now you sound like my mom. She drove me crazy. Both sides? Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Wrong. So, and no shades of gray. And you know how I hate that. So, honey, it's time to grow up, Ralph.
No way. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. I mean, this reverse racism shit is just taking things too far.
You know, what happened to you, honey? You know, you've always been okay with black people. I mean, you even stood up for them with your buddies sometimes.
Yeah, what happened? Black Lives Matter happened. You know, my life matters too. And I have put it on the line for them more than a few times.
But they're not saying your life doesn't matter, sweetheart. Yeah, but they're right, you know. You know, more blacks are shot by police than whites.
Yeah, well, maybe that's because they have a knife or a gun in their hand.
Well, maybe in some cases. But even when no weapon is involved, blacks are still 3 times more likely to be shot than whites.
Like I said, there's a whole lot of shit that goes down in the projects that is totally fucked up. But isn't making things hard for us now to make up for the bad things that happened to them in the past? Isn't that wrong too?
Oh, Kraft, come on now. You know it's not the same thing, honey.
Yeah, well, it sure seems that way to me.
Well, be that as it may, sweetheart. What are you going to do?
Now that is a very good question. Tell you what.
What?
Have a drink with me and we'll sleep on it.
Oh, well, now that sounds like a plan, darling.
Two millennia ago, Rabbi Hillel asked, if not now, when? If not by us, by whom?
I love teaching. I always have. Some of my happiest memories date back to the 70s and the late 80s when I was teaching at Canoga Park High School. Lots of memories. One in particular stands out. It's when I took my class on a Saturday on a school bus, my lily white class. We went to the Greek Theater to see Reverend Jesse Jackson. Most of my students hadn't even been on the other side, outside of suburbia. This was an adventure. Not all of their parents allowed them to go, but those who did go had a memorable experience, as did I. A short distance from the high school, there was posted a sign, "Impeach Earl Warren." He was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and he was involved in the famous Brown versus Board of Education at Topeka, declaring it unconstitutional for schools to separate based on race. And now this new teacher, Mrs. Miller, is about to expose their offspring to what? Jesse Jackson? Rainbow Coalition? Push for excellence? Are you kidding? I was serious. Once seated at the theater, we were treated to the Reverend Jackson, who easily managed to gather the requisite Amen choir. Black voices to our left, black voices to our right, down front, in back. Jackson shouted, "I am." The audience responded, "Somebody," throughout his entire poem. I am somebody. I may be poor. I may be young. I may have made mistakes, but I am somebody. My clothes are different. My face is different. My hair is different, but I am somebody. I am black, brown, or white. I speak a different language, but I must be respected, protected, never rejected. I am God's child. The momentum grew and grew to near hysteria, and it was thrilling. It was something that neither my students nor I will ever forget. All the way home on the bus, I could hear one student or another would yell, "I am," to which the rest of us would answer, "Somebody." Well, for weeks after that memorable day, I could hear some student from across the campus yelling, hey, Mrs. Miller, ask me who I am, okay? Okay, Brian, who are you? I am somebody. What they learned that day at that Greek Theater was that what many of them probably never really realized, that everybody is somebody, and they were more somebody for it.
Come on, stormtroopers. I can't imagine armed federal agents gassing us moms. Hey, I'm wearing my yoga pants. When I use my mom's voice, you listen. When you hear a mom's voice, you're less likely to behave badly.
We are the undefended, unarmed moms, standing here, linking arms to protect the peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters. We are a wall the bullies will have to break through.
Yes, we are white, and white privilege can be an asset in the struggle for equality. There's nothing wrong with having white privilege, as long as you're using that privilege for good.
Wall of Moms groups are popping up everywhere. not just in the big cities where you'd expect it, but in suburban areas too, in Michigan and Maine, New Mexico. They're organizing protests and reading groups. They're posting links to bail funds. They're even discussing antidotes to tear gas. And they're starting groups in their kids' schools to discuss white privilege. And they have a sign. And the sign says, when George Floyd called for his mama, he summoned all the mamas.
Some think, however, that the white mothers on the front lines looks like a case of too little, too late. The president of the NAACP branch in Portland wrote that while the wall of moms are well-intentioned, they end up redirecting attention away from the urgent issue of murdered Black bodies. Too little, too late? Yeah, I understand what he's saying, but I say better late than never.
Donald Trump has to be uneasy about the suburban housewives revolt. His re-election depends, well, somewhat, on those suburban housewives from the 1950s and 60s. Well, no more. And with this pandemic, we're a bunch of angry white women with nothing but time. Hey, come on, let's put those guns down.
Hating people because of their color is wrong, and it doesn't matter who's doing the hating. It's just plain wrong. Muhammad Ali.
Technically, I'm a lesbian, but I hate that word. It's just too negative. I prefer to be called a gay woman. And here are a few things I've heard over the years as a gay woman. I don't like your type. She doesn't look like a lesbian. Do they all wear plaid shirts? You could have married a doctor. She'd be so pretty if she just wore a little makeup. We don't rent to people like you. I wouldn't want her teaching my children. Maybe it's because she never had a father. If you slept with me, I could turn you.
Who's there?
Ethel Miller?
Yes, who wants to know?
I'm from Family Services, Ms. Miller.
Mrs. Miller, if you don't mind.
Okay, Mrs. Miller it is. May I come in?
Sure, come on in.
Thank you.
Hey kids, behave yourself. We have company.
What a nice home you have here. I'm April Williamson, the supervising social worker from DCFS, and I'm here to discuss your request to have Ms. Lucia Fernandez replaced as the supervising social worker for Fernandez.
Oh, thank goodness. Huh.
Excuse me?
Well, I was afraid I was going to get some. Oh, never mind. Excuse me a second. Hey kids, keep it down back there.
Afraid you were going to get what?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whew. Boy, the kids are having a field day back there, aren't they? I'm so sorry. Are they bothering you?
No, not at all. As I was saying, I'm here to get some background on your request. It's highly unusual, to say the least. So in what way are you and Lucia not compatible?
Well, for one thing, her accent makes it nearly impossible for me to understand her.
What does her accent have to do with her doing her job, Mrs. Miller?
Oh, you'd think she'd want to speak more like an American. I mean, how long has she been in this country already?
Actually, that is none of your business. Lucia is a highly qualified social worker, and her accent has not been a problem with any of her other clients.
Oh, I'm sure she's very accomplished, given her background and all.
You know nothing about her background, Mrs. Miller.
Well, she's also very hostile to me. Like, she thinks that Fernando needs to be more immersed in his Latino culture. I mean, telling me how to do my job. The nerve.
Actually, that's a very common request when an Anglo parent fosters a Latino child. So just why is that a problem?
No, Fernando, you cannot have your snack right now. Hey, Jeffrey, would you please leave Sandy alone for once? Look, Ms. Williamson, I have been doing this work for over 20 years now. I bring up all my fosters the same way, regardless of their culture. Isn't that what I'm supposed to do?
Mrs. Miller, I am trying hard to keep this conversation civil. There have been many studies that show the benefits of grounding a foster child in the culture of his birth parents.
Look, I know she told me all this, okay? But I'm just too set in my ways to change, and frankly, I don't think I really want to.
Okay. Given that, I think it's time to find another placement for Fernando. It's clear it's not in his best interest to be in your care.
What? Are you kidding me? You're going to screw the parent just to protect the system? And you think you could find another foster family for Fernando just like that, given his situation? You know, it's not going to be easy.
Be that as it may.
Look, please, Miss Williamson, please. I love Fernando. Please. He's finally happy here. His behavior isn't so bad anymore either. Or didn't Lucia tell you that?
Well, she did, but given your racist, your negative attitude, how is he going to feel when he finds out he's Latino?
Look, you can say the word racist. I've heard it before, but since when is treating everyone the same racist?
When it's not in the best interest of the child. Look, Mrs. Miller, this is not an easy decision to make. You obviously love Fernando, but I just don't think that's enough in this case.
Please don't take Fernando away from me. It would break both of our hearts.
Mrs. Miller,
Please, he's got a real home here. He loves the other kids love him. Look, please, I'll do anything to keep him with me, please.
Anything?
Anything, I swear.
Okay, if you continue to work with Lucia, I'll hold off on moving Fernando.
Oh my, are you serious? She won't give me a chance.
More to the point, will you give her a chance?
I'll try.
You have to do more than just try, Mrs. Miller. Look, you both clearly love Fernando. Surely you can find a way to work together.
Fine, if that's what it takes to keep Fernando.
That's what it takes, Mrs. Miller.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for your time. Lucia will be in touch with you shortly. Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Ms. Williamson.
First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Martin Niemöller, 1946. Niemöller was a German Lutheran pastor, arrested by the Nazis in 1937 and sent to a concentration camp. He was released in 1945.
Marcia, good to see you. Guess what? The school board voted 5-2 to fire a social studies teacher in Palatine, Illinois. That's a suburb outside of Chicago, for something she posted on her Facebook page. She claimed that white privilege is as offensive as the N-word. She said, "You have not walked in my shoes, so do not make assumptions about me and so-called privilege." Then she went on to call Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton race baiters. You think America is racist? You've been hoodwinked by the white liberal establishment. They're trying to fire her. I have her name, but so far I can't find any results. I think that's a bit like Big Brother is watching you. And to top it off, remember the good humor trucks? When you heard that familiar jingle, you ran to get the coins from your parents so you could make the truck stop in front of your house. Now they are changing the jingle because Turkey in the Straw reminds them of blackface minstrel shows. And they are just going along with all the logos that have been recently changed with racist and insensitive histories. A music composer has written a new jingle, but it has yet not been released. They say they wanted to make the melody that included all communities, that's good for every driver, that's good for every kid. This one, they say, is made with love. Now, they've gotten rid of the Indian lady on the butter and Jemima on syrup, the good humor jingle, and now they're hitting Uncle Ben's rice. That rice box since 1940 featured a white-haired black man, sometimes with a bow tie, an image that critics say evokes servitude. The company said it was originally modeled after a Chicago martyrdee named Frank Brown in a short-lived 2070 marketing campaign. The company even elevated Uncle Ben to chairman of the rice company. After months of conversations with employees, customer studies, and other stakeholders, the company settled on Ben's original. The company is still deciding on an image to accompany the new name. Hard to believe, isn't it? What's next?
Oh, I hope I pass my driver's test on the first go so I don't have to spend another eternity sitting here in the DMV. I mean, who could love this place?
Oh my God, I just love your hair. Can I touch it?
Oh no. Here we go. Another curl curiosity conversation. People have this curiosity about my curls. It just never seems to end. It's like hair meets Rocky Horror Picture Show. Touch it, touch me. I want to be dirty. Or in today's environment, I want to get infected. Okay, so what you just heard was the first of 5 questions never to ask a Black woman about her hair. Anyway, let's get this obvious no out of the way. No, you may not. I mean, I'm not a petting zoo. I'm not some show and tell doll at your kid's day camp.
Well, at least I asked first.
Thanks, I do appreciate the courtesy. It's okay to be curious. I'm just not the touchy-feely type. Like I said, it's okay to be curious, but it's not okay to treat a Black woman like a curiosity on display. If ever you feel the urge to ask this question, just go ahead and assume that the answer will be no. Therefore, can you just admire me from a distance?
You know, I was invited to a Get Your Beyonce On party. So I went down to Crenshaw to the store called Beautiful Wigs to get my Beyonce wig. It's on my phone. I have a photo of it. And I showed it to my friend Antoinette. She's Black. And she said, "Oh, you look mixed. White mama, Black daddy. You want to see my photo? It's on my phone."
Oh, that's cute. But we're in a pandemic. Remember, keep your distance, 6 feet. Now that I put the kibosh on this business of touching me, here comes the remaining barrage of questions.
Yeah, I know we're in a pandemic and beauty shops are closed, but did you just cut your hair?
I guess that was a compliment. I mean, Black hair shrinkage gets confused for a new haircut, especially after we've just washed it. Haircut by shrinkage. Maybe instead of inquiring about the length, just try telling me that my style is super cute. No, I just have fabulous curl definition. Who doesn't love a compliment?
Pretty please? Is that all your hair?
Are those all your boobs? Okay, I know that was ugly, but I think you get the point.
Do you ever straighten your hair?
My advice for this question, don't ask. Just compliment the curls and keep it moving.
Are you mixed with something?
What did she just ask me? She implying that I must be mixed with something other than black to have nice hair because black hair couldn't possibly be that beautiful? That's insulting. Look, our hair is beautiful, period. Beautiful in all its many textures. Curly, coily, kinky, wavy, or straight. Short, long, wigged, weaved, braided, bobbed. Black, brown, red, blonde, pink, blue, green, or gray. Now what?
You want to see my Beyonce picture again?
Oh, they just called my name. Gotta go. Admire, but don't touch it.
The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Martin Luther King, 1961.
Born in the City of Angels, I had never been out of California until I was 18 years old. As a result, I was a spoiled white girl who only knew from all-white schools. My mother shopped at the Lily White Market in Culver City, and she did the laundry with Ivory Snow. The only other than white person I knew was my rich Aunt Fanny's cleaning lady. I never knew her name. Color me ignorant. In 1955, I delighted in donning my appropriate virginal white wedding gown and veil. My dad proudly walked me down the aisle to be joined in holy matrimony to a white man named Jerry Miller. Because Jerry had enlisted in the Air Force and was stationed in San Antonio, Texas, that's where we moved. Now, I myself had never been out of the state, and I couldn't imagine what living in the southern state would be like. All I knew that I was a brand new bride, and so all was right with the world. Despite the fact that I was so young, I managed to land a job with Gillespie Motor Company, a highly regarded Ford dealership. It was owned by Frank Gillespie Sr., Frank Gillespie Jr., and Jimmy Gillespie. Southern gentlemen all. The owners were white, the salesmen were white, the entire service and parts department were white. In fact, the only person there who wasn't white was a colored man, custodian named Willie Huff. One of my numerous secretarial duties that I remember was a simple task, really. I just needed to page an employee on the squawk box, but I was given specific instruction. It went like this. Paging Mr. Anderson, Mr. Gerald Anderson, you're wanted in Mr. Gillespie's office. Or paging Mr. Griffith, Mr. Stephen Griffith, you're wanted in the parts department. As I said, simple enough. Mr. Gillespie would give me the name, I'd page it on the squawk box. One day, I was asked to page the custodian. So I announced, paging Mr. Huff, Mr. Willie Huff, you're wanted in Mr. Gillespie's office. At which point, a red-in-the-face Frank Gillespie yelled out, that's Willie! Excuse me? And then I did it again. Paging Mr. Huff, Mr. Willie Huff, you're wanted in Mr. That's when Frank Gillespie Jr. kicked back his black leather chair and barged into my all-enclosed glass office and scolded, Mrs. Miller, I don't give a damn that out in your California, you call college Mr. This is San Antonio, Texas. And in San Antonio, Texas, which is where you are presently employed, there is no Mr. Huff. There is only Willie. And so, on that hot, sticky summer afternoon, this here white girl learned an important lesson, one that she would carry with her into the civil rights marches of the 60s and 70s and into her high school classroom, where she taught blacks, whites, and many other colors in the 70s and 80s. Color me enlightened. And so here we are in the next century, when it would be not at all far-fetched to hear over the metaphorical squawk box or polling booth, paging Mr. Obama, Mr. Barack Obama, you are wanted in the Oval Office. Color me proud.
So, Mrs. Williams, how can I help you today?
Habiba. Please call me Habiba.
Habiba, of course. You know, that's a pretty name.
Thank you. It's Muslim for beloved.
Oh, that's nice. Are you Muslim?
No, my mom just loved the name. Would that matter?
No, of course not. So, what can I do for you?
Well, Mr. Hall, I was just
Stewart,
wondering.
Stewart, please.
Stuart, I'm confused about the amount you've pre-qualified me for. It just seems very low to me.
Well, let me see what's going on. No, everything seems to be in order here. Your income's great. Down payment's a little low.
My down payment? According to your ads, you require a minimum 10% down. I'm not a math whiz, but my down payment should be enough for a larger loan.
Yeah, it should. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on. Now that's strange. The algorithm that evaluated your application is requiring a higher than usual interest rate.
A higher rate? Why?
I don't know. They never say.
My mom warned me about this. She said that you would find a way to redline me.
Habiba, I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, let me just give you a little history lesson. It's the way that your bank and all the other banks would outline certain parts of the city in red ink and only approve Black mortgages in those parts. That's how my folks ended up in Inglewood.
Oh, come on now. That's illegal.
No shit. And it's been since 1968, but it's still going on. Federal mortgage records prove that.
Well, you know, I find it really hard to believe that that's what's going on here. You know, maybe you could increase your down payment to 20%?
20%. And just how do I do that? Mom agreed to take out a second mortgage on her home to help me out, and that's all she could get.
Well, you did say she was living in Inglewood.
Incredible. So history just repeats itself.
Look, Mrs. Williams, the algorithm that evaluated your application has no idea what color you are. It's nothing personal.
So the fact that I'm Black is what? A coincidence?
Well, I can see why you would feel that way, but I assure you, it's nothing like that at all.
Sure. No skin off your white nose. Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, okay. But you people do yourselves no favors by being angry all the time. It turns a lot of white folks off.
Well, I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt, but I have a right to be angry. This is just another example of the systemic racism.
Oh, come on. What's this with systemic racism all of a sudden? I mean, it's not cool to even sound racist anymore. Segregation has been dead for a long time, and well, we've got all kinds of equal opportunity programs. You know, I don't get it.
So it's an even playing field now, everyone racing on the same track.
Yeah, that's how it seems. That's how it seems to me.
No, No, it's not. It's not an even race if you leave the gate with a handicap. Try running a race holding a couple of kettlebells. The red line maps may have disappeared from your walls back in 1968, but they reappeared as computer algorithms that mysteriously require higher interest rates and larger down payments for people of color.
When you put it that way, it does sound racist.
Yes, it's racist. It's racism that is encoded into your system. So here we are in 2020, still fighting. 150 years after emancipation, 50 years after MLK's March on Washington. And on top of that, we're still fighting for Black lives murdered by white policemen, for equity in employment and wages. And we are still fighting this redlining that has handicapped our ability to own property and build wealth. Tell me why, Stuart.
I don't know, Habiba. I just don't know.
I think you just answered my question.
If you see something that's not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral responsibility to do something about it. You have to say something. You have to do something. Senator John Lewis, 2020.
We hold these truths
To be self-evident.
That all men and women
Are created equal.
That they are endowed
with certain inalienable rights
And among these are life,
liberty, and the pursuit of
justice.
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 Justice.